Good morning. So we'll start from question number 26. So as you can see, our first question for today is, who became the first Governor General of independent India? So as you know, when India became independent in 1947, so it was actually considered that Mr. Lord Mountbatten should continue for some period so that everything is handed over smoothly, because just prior to before independence, Lord Mountbatten was the Governor General of India during British era. So he was requested just to transfer all the powers and other things, and accordingly he became the first Governor General of independent India. Remember that after him, first Indian Governor General of independent India was C. Rajagopalachari. Means after Lord Mountbatten, C. Rajagopalachari became Governor General of India. So don't get confused. Here your answer would be Lord Mountbatten. Next question. Which of the following articles has the provision of participation of workers in the management of industries? So as we have discussed earlier, there are some certain provisions related to, you can say, welfare of public, and those provisions, that is you can say welfare in nature, has been placed under part 4 of the Constitution, and that part 4 is called DPSP, Directive Principle for State Policy. So these all provisions come under DPSP, and for this question we have to see under which article the provision of participation of workers in the management of industries are there provisions. So you can see the option 45, option 43A, next option article 47, article 43. So if you remember, you can just eliminate two options. So as you know, article 45 and 47 will not be there, because the article 45 has different provision related to education, whereas 47 has also some different provision. So your answer either would be 43 or 43A. So your correct answer is 43A. So just try to whenever you get such kind of question, try to remember or try to focus which options can be eliminated. So first you should eliminate it. If you are able to eliminate some options, then you will be able to just increase your chance for selecting correct answer. So next question, who among the following put forward the idea of Constituent Assembly for India for the first time? So you can read the name: Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, M.N. Roy. So if you remember, recently we were discussing or this provision, recently we have actually celebrated our Constitution Day on which date? 26th November. Why? Because on 26th November 1949 our constitution was adopted by Constituent Assembly. So here question is, who had put the idea of Constituent Assembly for India for the first time? So it was actually M.N. Roy. It was placed, I think the idea of this Constituent Assembly was placed during initial, you can say 1930s. During it was 30s, initial years of 30s, it was this idea was put forward by M.N. Roy. So your answer would be M.N. Roy. Next question number 29. Compensatory allowance means what? Compensatory, as you can just imagine, compensation means what? Just to meet out the expense, means you have spent some expenditure and on account of that you will be getting, or a kind of, you can say, expenditure which is done by government servant. So on account of that, a government servant is given some amount, that is called compensatory allowance. So just read out the options, so accordingly you will understand, and you have to see what is the gist of any option. So if you have any idea, then easily you can just eliminate or just identify whether this option is correct or incorrect. So first option, an allowance sanctioned to meet the expenses of cost of incidental while on LTC to a government servant. GS here means government servant. So as you know, this cannot be correct because it is mentioned in LTC rules that incidental expenses or cost of incidental are not allowed. So here rule is itself that incidental expenses will not be covered under LTC. So this answer cannot be correct. So this is not correct. Next option, an allowance sanctioned to government servant who is placed under suspension. Wide Rule 10 of CCA Rule 1965. So as you know, an allowance is given, is sanctioned to government servant during suspension. Yes, that's correct, but that is not called compensatory allowance, that is called subsistence allowance. So remember, subsistence allowance is different and compensatory allowance is different. So this will not be correct answer. Next is a monthly grant made to government servant who is not in receipt of pay or leave salary. So this is also not correct. Next, last option, allowance granted to a government servant to meet personal expenditure necessitated by the special circumstances in which duty is performed. So if any kind of expenditure is made due to, you can say, exigencies for the duty, then that expenditure is given as an allowance, and that is called compensatory allowance. So this would be our correct answer, option number D. Next question, consider the following statement. This is very important question. Time and again we have discussed this. So first statement, what says? It says foreign service means service in which a government servant receives his pay without the sanction of government. We'll see the second option, then we'll discuss. Foreign service means service in which a government servant receives his pay without the sanction of government from consolidated fund of India. Okay, now we will discuss the rules. Foreign service means, first option, again we will go to first statement. Foreign service means service in which a government servant receives his pay without the sanction of government. So this is incorrect. Actually, government in foreign service, government servant receives his pay with the sanction of government. So here without, because of this without, this is not the correct statement. So this without is very, very important. Such a word you have to remember: with, without, have been or has. It cannot be, cannot be. So these words are, you can say, keywords for your answer. Now you can see next option. Foreign service means service in which a government servant receives his pay without, thus again without. So without, it cannot be without. So the sanction of government servant from consolidated fund of India. So in foreign service, this is the source will not be consolidated fund. Means you will, a government servant will receive the salary other than consolidated fund of India, but with the sanction of government. So here both the options are incorrect. So our correct option would be this one. Neither of the statement is correct. So this would be your correct option. Now question number 31, you can read it. The period spent by an officer on training immediately for such appointment would count as duty as qualifying service for the purpose of eligibility for appearing in the departmental examinations, even if the officer is not given the scale of pay of the post but only a nominal allowance. So we have to check whether this statement is correct or incorrect, and according to option. So as we had discussed earlier during, you can say, pension provisions, it was mentioned that even if before or prior to appointment there is training, and immediately after training that individual is confirmed, or you can say join as government servant. So that period, and during that period, even if there is no, you can say, regular pay, only nominal allowance or nominal amount has been given, so that period will be counted as duty for qualifying service, as qualifying service for purpose of eligibility for appearing in departmental examination. So option, you can see, correct, wrong, depends on the competent authority. There is no such provision. So our correct answer would be option number A, correct. So if there is continuation, then that would be treated as qualifying service. So our correct option would be option A. Now next question, question number 32. So fundamental rules came into force with came into force with effect from which date? So remember, this is fundamental rules, not fundamental rights. FR SR, like this is the just acronym for FR, fundamental rules. So when it became effective, so you can see your options. 1st January 19, actually this 22 means 1922, 1st April 1970, 1st June 1942, 8th December 1944. So correct answer. So if you remember, we read earlier that fundamental rules was started by Britishers, so it was prior to independence. So now you can eliminate options. So first option number B will not be there, this will not be there, and we had also discussed that you have to remember, after the implementation of a special provision by, you can say, 1919 Act, there were some administrative reforms. So after that it was implemented. So after 1919 Act, this Indian Act 1919, this there were some administrative reforms and some rules were implemented. So accordingly this was FR, fundamental rules, was made effective from 1st January 1922. So you have to remember some historical development of constitution also, because you will find there were so many provisions during that period also. Next question, which of the following services of government servant fall within the purview of foreign service? So remember the rules previously we have read. What was that? That was, foreign service means service where government servant receives the salary from other than consolidated fund of India with the sanction of government. So remember that, and then you can answer this question. So this option number A central government servant joins on ONGC on deputation for 2 years. So of course, once government servant joins on ONGC on deputation, so deputation is approved by government, and you can see here this the salary of ONGC is not given from consolidated fund of India. So this would be correct answer. Then next option you can see, a central government servant joins a post in Universal Postal Union at Bern, Switzerland. So as you know, Switzerland, if a government servant joins, so of course that would be with the sanction of government, and that would not be charged on consolidated fund of India, the salary of that government servant. So this option is also correct. So your right answer would be both A and B, means option number C would be the correct answer. Now next question, as per FR 8, the power of interpreting fundamental rules is reserved to, means who will be the authority to interpret the fundamental rules? So you can read out the option. First option, Parliament, Ministry of Finance, President of India, Comptroller and Auditor General. So as per FR 8, such power is vested with President of India. So your option would be correct option would be option number C. Next question you can read. Fee means a recurring or non-recurring payment. Recurring or non-recurring means what? Means the payment which is recurring. Recurring means time and again. You can just remember this word. Recurring means reoccur. Something is happening. Occur means to happen. And reoccurrence means something is happening time and again. So reoccurring means anything which is appearing or which is happening again and again. Non-recurring means once or sometimes. So recurring or non-recurring payment to a government servant from a source other than Consolidated Fund of India or a state or union territory means this is not fee means not from Consolidated Fund of India or Consolidated Fund of a state or Consolidated Fund of UT. It does not include. So see the option. Unearned income such as income from property, dividends, interest on security. So question is it does not include means which is not fee. So of course unearned income such as income from property, this is not fee. Income from literary, cultural, artistic, scientific or technological efforts. Income from participation in a sports activities as amateur. So these are not the income. These cannot be treated or this is not treated as income as fee. So our answer would be all of the above. Next question. As per FR 7, administrative ministries can redelegate powers to subordinate authorities in respect of all matter except. So here your keyword is except means ministry can delegate so many powers to its subordinate authorities, but some power will not be delegated. So which post, which you can say, which power or powers will not be delegated to its subordinate. So you can read the options. Creation of posts, write-off of losses, reappropriation exceeding 10% of the original budget provision, all the above. So as you know, creation of post is always given by the power of creation of post is always lies with concerned administrative ministry or finance ministry sometimes. Write-off of losses. So there are some certain provisions which are not re-delegated. Reappropriation exceeding 10% of original budget provision. So up to 10 it is not redelegated by ministry. So all the above would be your correct answer. So our answer would be D. Next, 37. Act as defined under the fundamental rules means what? So there are some definitions actually under fundamental rules. So act has been defined there. So what act you can say fundamental rules are talking about. So your options are Government of India Act, Indian Independence Act 1947, the Regulating Act 1773, Representation of the People Act. So as you know, this is talking about fundamental rules. So in fundamental rules you have to just see the relevance of other act. So whether fundamental rules can talk about independence, so of course not. So that would not be your correct answer. Then Regulating Act 1773. So as you remember, fundamental rules was effective from which date? Earlier we have just discussed. So it was 1st Jan 1922. So that would not be there. And but this Regulating Act 1773 is very, very important because during this period many provisions were charted there in that Regulating Act, and it was for only for Britishers, not for fundamental rules. We'll also discuss sometimes Regulating Act. And Representation Act of the People Act. So as you know, this is nothing to do with fundamental rules, so this option cannot be correct. Your so correct answer would be Government of India Act, option number A. Now next question, government servant may be treated as on duty on which among the following cases? So first is service as probationer or apprentice, provided that such service is followed by confirmation. So we are discussing which may be treated as duty. Here we have to see treated as duty. May be treated as on duty. So once service is provided as probationer or apprentice and which is followed by confirmation, then there is no gap or something like that, then this would be treated as on duty. So this is correct. Next is joining time. Of course during joining time also it is treated on duty, because a government servant is once it is transferred, then he or she government servant has to avail that joining time period for joining the another station. So that during that period also you are performing the duty of government servant, so that would be treated as duty. Next option is during a course of instruction or training in India. So if any kind of course is there for instruction or training in India, so that period is also treated as duty, because that training or instruction is your part of your job. So of course your answer would be all of the above. Next question, which among the following allowance cannot be treated as compensatory allowance? So just read the option. A special compensatory allowance, so it will not be the correct answer, because the name of this option is itself compensatory allowance. So of course this should be treated as compensatory allowance. Bad climate allowance, this is also given to just to meet out or compensate your compensate you can say to live in that bad situation. So this is a kind of compensatory allowance. Next is project allowance. So as you know, we have discussed earlier, project allowance means any allowance is given specifically for during a project. And as you know, during a project, one has to travel and one has to do so many things which is in normal course of duty. That kind of, you can say, adverse nature of work would not be there, and there would be a different kind of demand. Even beyond office hour one has to work, or more than office hour one has to work. So accordingly, this project allowance is also treated as compensatory allowance. So next option is sumptuary allowance. Sumptuary allowance would be the correct answer. So this will not be treated as compensatory allowance. And what is the meaning of sumptuary allowance? In Hindi it is called Atith Shatkar Bhatta. So if you are spending some money just to meet out the expenses to welcome the guest, that is not called some compensatory allowance. So our correct answer would be option number D. Next, a recurring or non-recurring payment granted to a government servant from the Consolidated Fund of India as remuneration for a special work of an occasional or intermittent character is called what? So there are two words. One is fee, other is honorarium. So in fee you receive the amount, not from the source of that amount would not be from Consolidated Fund of India, but here the source would be Consolidated Fund of India for, you can say, a special work, and that would be occasional, not a regular one. So that would be treated as honorarium. So your answer would be option number D. Fee is not the correct option. A special pay, personal pay, these all are kind of regular pay. So this honorarium is paid on occasional basis, not regular basis. For next question, lien means what? What is lien? If you remember or if you recall, in definition itself it is said that lien is a title of a government servant. So you have to remember, sometimes you have to catch the word also while reading the rules. Try to just imbibe that kind of word or remember that kind of word. So here your answer would be title. Lien means title of a government servant to hold a post which he has been appointed or regular basis. So what is lien? So you can understand what is lien. So lien is a kind of title. So nobody can snatch that title without following the due procedure, because as you know, generally when a government or any person joins government service, so that person is first appointed on probation initially. Either that can be for 1 year or 2 years based on the, you can say, situation and the nature of post or the position of post. So once you complete the probation successfully, then you are confirmed. So once you are confirmed, so you have the title on a particular post. So until you resign from government service, you have right on that chair, or you can say post. You can leave government office temporarily just to join other office. Either you can be on deputation, or you have just join as fresh recruit in another cadre. So again you would be appointed there only on probation. So until you are confirmed there, you will be having, you can say, a chair for you in your old or parent organization. So that facility is called lien. So nobody can sit on that chair. Even somebody sits on that chair, that would be temporary. That's why you have seen so many you can say vacancies or advertisement for deputation post, because somebody would be having the lien on that particular post. That's why many times you have seen that posts are advertised on deputation basis, because somebody is already there for that post. Either on, you can say, that person has gone for deputation for particular period of time. So your correct answer was title. So next question you can see, a government servant retains lien acquired on post during. So you can read the option. Option 1, suspension. During suspension also you are having that post, so that would lien would be there. Foreign service, same thing, you will go to another cadre or another organization with the sanction of foreign service. Means any service where you are getting the salary from other than consolidated fund of India with the sanction of government. So lien would be there. Period of leave, during period of leave also you are you can say government servant. So of course that during that period also you will have the lien on your post. So your answer should be all of the above. All of the above option. This option should be all of the above. This is incorrect actually. All of the above. 43. Next question. A lien of a government servant to a post shall not be retained. Means now it is being asked, during which situation there would not be lien. Means you cannot retain lien. If a government servant proceeds on immediate absorption basis, as we discussed earlier, that lien is given. Why lien is given? Because you should not be on road during your service or during any point of period of time once you join the government service. So once you are absorbed, then there is no need of lien in old organization. And next option is on deputation beyond the maximum period. So as you know, there are some provisions for period, up to what period lien can be retained. In normal case 2 years, in special circumstances it would be 3 years. So your answer would be in both the situations lien will not be retained. So beyond that period, if you stay, then that period will not be treated, means during that period you will not hold the lien. So if you once lose the lien, then it's your, because if you see, if you are not confirmed within that period, then immediately you should, our government servant should return to his or her parent organization. So next question. Question number 44. Additional pay granted to a government servant to save him from loss of substantive pay due to revision of pay or due to reduction otherwise than a disciplinary measure or on other personal consideration is termed as what? Read the option. Additional pay granted to government servant to save him from loss of substantive pay due to revision of pay or due to reduction otherwise than a disciplinary measure or on other personal consideration. So since this is on personal consideration, so this would be treated as personal pay immediately. Actually this is based on personal consideration, so that your answer directly would be this personal pay, means option number B. Next is personal pay means additional pay granted to a government servant due to loss of a substantive pay of. Read the option. So some clue you can get it from previous question. Personal pay means additional pay granted to a government servant due to loss of a substantive pay of. What is happening? Oh, this is the problem of laptop. Yes. So personal pay means additional pay granted to a government servant due to loss of a substantive pay of tenure post. This will not be tenure post. This is not for tenure post. Temporary post. No additional pay will be given for temporary post. Substantive post due to disciplinary measure. Remember, if there is loss of money due to disciplinary measure, your salary is decreased due to disciplinary measure. So in that scenario, no personal pay will be allowed, because you are given a punishment. So due to punishment, if your pay is reduced, then why there should be personal pay? So it was easy. This option is correct. A substantive post otherwise than a disciplinary measure. Next is, your answer was this D. What is subsistence grant? I define under FR 927. Subsistence grant I define under FR 927. Monthly grant made to a government servant under suspension. So next option, monthly grant made to a government servant who is not receipt of pay or leave salary. So this is the correct, you can say, option. So other options are not correct. Additional pay cannot be subsistence grant as per FR 927 additional pay. Monthly grant to made to government servant for specific addition of work or responsibility. That would be a kind of allowance, not subsistence grant. So answer is 46. Answer would be option number B. Next is, no person may be appointed in India to a post in government service without a medical certificate of health as per which fundamental rule. This is very very important. When fitness certificate must be there, medical certificate for joining a government post. So we have to see under which rule it has been provisioned. So which rule says so? It is FR 10. So remember, your answer would be FR 10. Next question. Under which fundamental rule President may transfer a government servant to another post carrying lesser pay on account of inefficiency or misbehavior or on his written request? So you can see your options: FR 13A, FR 54, FR 23, FR 15A. So our correct answer would be 15A. This is our, for such kind of question you have to just repeat time and again so that you can just remember the provisions, and you can segregate, as I have said earlier, that first you have not to just cram every rules. You have to make the pillars, then you can just fix some rules within that particular framework. Like as we discussed earlier, that suppose you are reading constitution, so first you should divide, or you should frame some, you can say, pillars of knowledge for that. Like if you remember, okay, in first part what is there, so states and other things, part 2 something like that, part 3 fundamental rights, part 4 DPSP, part 4A, fundamental duties, like that, 5 center. So accordingly, now within that you can fix again some pillars, like within fundamental rules. 14 is right before law, right equality before law. So something like that you have to create in your own mind, because you can develop your own method of reading and just for understanding the subjects or the theme. Next question: which among the following with regard to fixation of pay in case of employees who seek transfer to a lower post under FR 15A on own request is applicable with effect from 1st January 2016? So option: pay will be fixed in the revised pay structure at the stage equal to the pay drawn by him or her in the higher level of post held regularly. This is correct. Next, the difference in pay may be granted as personal pay to be absorbed in future increments. So if you have, as you have seen, that in 7th CPC, right now we are under 7th CPC regime. So if you are higher position, or you can say higher level, and you have been transferred to lower post, then of course that pay may be there in lower post, but exact amount may not be there. So the difference of that higher post and the matching, you can say, sales in lower post may not be there. If it is not there, then the difference would be paid as personal pay, which will be absorbed in future increments. So both the options are correct. So your option would be this, C. 50. Indicate the rule under which a government servant may be required to subscribe to a provident fund. So it is FR 16. Just remember, this is FR 16. Next question. As per which clause of fundamental rules, an officer who is absent from duty without any authority shall not be entitled to any pay and allowances during the period of such absence? So, if you are absent without the sanction, you can say absent from duty without any authority. Actually, without sanction of from any authority, you don't have any authority to be absent from your duty, but you are absent. Then in that situation, you are not entitled to any pay and allowances during such absence. This is very, very important. So this is FR 17. Your option number B. Next, option is not available to have the pay fixed from the date of promotion or from the date of accrual of next increment in respect of. Just you can go through the options. From options itself, you can decide which would be the correct answer. So MSAP, in MSAP you have the option, you can get your pay fixed as per your choice. In regular promotion also, you can get your pay fixed as per your choice. Means option is there. But in ad hoc promotion, what would be the you can say option? Since the promotion is itself ad hoc, then there will not be any facility of option to choose the pay fixation date. So your correct answer would be option number C. Next. The resignation treated as technical formality is for the purpose of what? Counting past service for the purpose of increment, counting past service for the purpose of pension, counting past service for the purpose of seniority, or fixation of pay in the new post. So your correct answer would be fixation of pay in the new post. Remember, once you are in government job and you are leaving that government job for joining new post, then there would be pay fixation. So for that purpose, that resignation treated as technical formality for fixing the pay in new post. Next question. What is the purpose of next below rule as provided under FR? You might have heard about next below rule. So, read the option. Option 1 or option A says pay protection to employees resigned under technical formalities. That is not correct. Option B, assured financial upgradation to employees, that is called MSCP, that is not next below rule. Next is to protect the interest of a government servant who is working on deputation outside regular line of service or foreign service. So as you know, this provision is mainly for those who are not holding the regular post, but due to on deputation or some other post, that person is not working in his original you can say cadre or post. So during that period, if any promotion is given to his juniors, so that during that period, this you can say facility, their next below rule is there. So this is the correct answer. So your answer would be this, to protect the interest of a government servant who is working on deputation outside. Now next is the rule which deals with holding the increment of a government servant is. So which FR says about withholding the increment of government servant? Simply you have to remember your correct answer would be FR 24. Now question number 56. The rule which regulates the increment of a government servant in a time scale of pay is. So, regulation of increment of government servant in time scale of pay. So, this is our option number C. FR 26 is the correct answer. '57. The FR applicable to regulate counting of service